I understand. Like you've got your air pressure, your air quality sensors for the classrooms. How did that then sort of go into the smart home? Like, were you like, okay, now let's sort of go into the home? Do we go into businesses first? Like, did you have like a roadmap of where you wanted to take these air quality sensors?
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I mentioned it earlier. So, really, our aim was, okay, let's make a massive impact with AirGradient. Okay, so, and for me and my co-founder was clear. Okay, Thailand is the starting point. So, how do we get global with this? I'm a big fan of Hacker News. You might know
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
site. So, at some point, when we had these, the first kind of what we call DIY kit, it was basically like a small PCB, and then people could, purchase their components and solder this together. Like every time something about air quality came up on Hacker News, I basically said, hey, I sent you a PCB to build your own monitor. You just send me the postage through PayPal. So they sent me like $2 or $3. I went personally to the post office in Thailand. I put this small PCB in envelopes. I sent it all around the world. One of the guys who got it was Jeff Gerling. So you might know him. He has a pretty big
Yep.
YouTube channel. So he built this monitor I didn't really know, and he published a video. At that time, he didn't use Home Assistant. He used Grafana and Prometheus as a backend. Yeah, suddenly our website crashed, and I'm kind of, okay, what's going on there? Like hundreds of people on the website simultaneously. Before we had like 3 or 4 people, like if you look at the stats. And then obviously a lot of people contacted us and then basically said, hey, like we would love to get a kit from you, not buying these things through AliExpress ourselves. And then I felt, okay, that's actually a good idea. So we curated a kit out of the open source hardware thing that we already had on website. And then we started selling the kits. And then people just started, basically connecting it to whatever system they wanted to connect it, because I think the Arduino hardware made it really software. The Arduinos made it really easy to send the data to your own server, and then ESP Home started. So we had, and actually from the community, so we had then people actually developing several ESP Home integrations. I think the best one or most famous or most popular one I would say is from Malloc Array, who still maintains it until today. And then obviously with that ESP Home integration, like more and more people said, hey, great, like I can easily integrate that into Home Assistant.
Yeah.
And that's how we got into this. So like I had Home Assistant as well, but it was really from the community coming. And when I think today actually probably half the customers are actually on Home Assistant, I think.
Yeah.
And then ESP Home is great, but it's also not a native like implementation. So at some point, and there were certain problems because like the way you read the sensor information is basically part of ESP Home, and sometimes these are not updated, or there might be even mistakes in some of these implementations. So we had a couple of issues with the accuracy of the monitor actually coming from not from the integration itself, but from the underlying drivers, basically.
Right.
So we thought, okay, it's probably better if we adjust our firmware, our official open source firmware, to be compatible with Home Assistant. So then we developed like a kind of native Home Assistant integration, which it's just much easier basically for people to use.
So is it a migration from like the project migrated from ESP Home to your firmware, or is it that you can kind of do whichever? Or
No, we still. I mean, there's still people that have ESP
yeah,
Home. Actually, ESP Home it's interesting. It's totally community driven. So ESP Home is really, Malloc Array who maintains it. It's basically his baby. Like he
yeah,
added a couple of features that the community wanted, which we don't have in our official firmware. A few more configuration possibilities. we have a few things that maybe not in his, no? So it's I mean, that's the beauty of open source, like you can really meet
Sure.
certain demands. So that's still still heavily used. Obviously, once we had the official one, then a lot of people just went with the official one.
Yeah.
But I think there's a place for both, definitely. Yeah. So, and the official one, actually, we at that time, like, our software developer team didn't really have experience with Home Assistant integration, so we
Right.
reached out to the community, and then Joost Lekkerkerker, who is actually now with the Open Home Foundation,
Yep.
he came forward and said, yeah, like, I can help you with this. So we worked with him to develop the official integration, which was great because he was so close to Home Assistant, and I think that's also why we got the the platinum level certification, because he just knew what he's doing, and we wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yeah, like, because you can see now, right, there's other companies that are having to use their own developers because it's all closed source and their internal APIs. But I guess, being open, you know, Home Assistant and the Open Home Foundation can
Anybody
go in
can
and go,
jump in.
yeah, and go,
Yeah.
yeah, we can help you with that. We can see your code. Like, let's do it.
Exactly. I mean, he was working on a Home Assistant side, and then but cooperating with our firmware developer. He's based in Indonesia, and it's on GitHub. I also talked to Joost just recently when we had this made for home or works with Home Assistant event, that
Yeah.
Joost said it was so easy to work with us because he could just look at the code and understand how the
Yeah.
firmware sends the data. I mean,
There doesn't need to be a translation layer in terms of, oh, we do this, and then, okay, well, how do you do that? Something like this, right? Without, like, because when it's proprietary, nobody ever says, here's the code, let me copy paste it and whatever. Here's, just go on GitHub and look yourself. Right?
exactly, and that's why I
It's
mentioned
awesome.
before also, like, as being open also really simplifies things. I think it makes them better and also simpler.